Welcome to TYT Sports, everybody. Ben Mankiewicz, Jayar Jackson with you, Turks and Jurks. This is Jurks. Both of our Turks came from the Washington Green Bay game. Where's your Jerk, Jayar?
Well, my LA Rams played the first rain game in LA since 1994. Beginning of the season, they kept doing that stuff. As I mentioned, the rain game against the Dolphins. Opening drive.
Real quick, the Dolphins are now the first team since like 1987 to win back-to-back weeks in Southern California, because they beat the Chargers last week. Like, again, just kind of statistics.
It's been so long.
Right, exactly.
So it's the Rams, but I had a problem specifically pinpointing the problem. Obviously, they lost 14-10, had a 7-0 lead, and then 10-0 lead for the majority of the game until the last 5 damn minutes of the game. I know the defense played great the entire game.
You can't contain Ryan Tannehill for 60 minutes, JR.
He did have 2 touchdowns and 172 yards of scorched earth passing. So they came back and won within the last few minutes of the game because, again, like a professional team should, finally give up a touchdown is 10-7. Your defense has been playing fantastically the entire game. I mean, physical. It got to the point where it was frustrating Dolphins at certain points in the first half. They were getting into fights over how bad they were getting hit.
0 for 10 on third down conversions. And
Absolutely.
every conversion was like 3rd and 11. They didn't come close to getting a first down on third down.
D-backs were hitting, linebackers were chasing down the little drop-off, dump-off pass. It was great.
I paid attention only because I had the Dolphins in a critical pool, and I was like, it looked like the worst pick we'd ever made.
You gave up?
I gave up mentally. Yes.
But the thing is, what turned around and what I've close enough has pinpointed it as. And Jared Goff, by the way, got his first start as the rookie gets his first start in the rain at home. And he looks okay, he looks poised enough. Opening drive, they go down and score a touchdown. Something they can't do. I was like, oh, a touchdown. I'll take that. And of course, they didn't score another one, but that's fine. But the bottom line is, at the end of the game, you have to shift the offense. It's like a defensive offensive game. There's like just over 2 minutes left, and they go 3 and out and give the ball right back.
They did throw on third down. I mean, they gave it to Gurley twice, and then they threw on third down. But, you know, he's not – you saw him, you know, his numbers are – he's averaging like just under, I think, 5 yards per attempt. You know, and it was 3rd and 10, and they hit a 5-yard slant.
And then they shoved for it, and there's penalties that kept setting them back. Those type of things keep happening, and that'll kill an offense every time. Holding penalties, pre-snap penalties, shift penalties, all that stuff always happens.
They really helped the Dolphins on that last drive.
Absolutely. Gave them all. So I guess it comes from, it's just you need to be able to sustain one drive for the entire game just to lock it up, and that's the only one you needed to have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with your pick only because it's Goff, and clearly they thought there were limits as to what they could do, and then you thought, okay, the defense will hold them. What I'm curious about, and I don't know, is whether that Jeff Fisher, Greg Williams defense, did they change tactics at all? Did they? Because all of a sudden it looked, and I got it, you said it correctly, an NFL team, what do you know, they finally scored a touchdown. And Ryan Tannehill is an NFL quarterback, and he's got some weapons. And that first touchdown, the Parker touchdown, where the whole team carried him 4 yards, that was cool. That was great. That all alone, you could give the Dolphins Turk of the Week just for that effort there. But it seemed like all of a sudden Tannehill had more room. It seemed to, I don't think teams go to the prevent defense the way they did in the 70s or 80s. But it seemed like they were trying to keep him in the middle of the field, use clock, and I just would have kept the exact same pressure on Tannehill. But maybe they did. I didn't read anything from Greg Williams.
The mentality changes. They're like, oh, God, we got 2 minutes left. We have to stop these guys.
I think mentality definitely changes. And
don't put them in that position.
And all of a sudden yeah, I know, but I was very pleased. But I hear you. Okay, so quickly, let me give you my Jerk of the Week. And it's, unfortunately, it's a call we've made before, but it's the Cardinals organization. I'm afraid Carson Palmer, who I like, and you know, he was an MVP candidate last year. He 35 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. This year, everything is off. 13 touchdowns, 10 picks. Passer rating 83.6. Nobody knows what that means. Nobody ever will know what that means. But it's way down. It's down. It's bad. 83.6. That's horrible or awesome. It's horrible or bad. They're now 4-5-1. 4 of their final 6 opponents have winning records. 4 of the last 6 on the road. He's been an issue all year. He has a cap number of just over $24 million for next year. Let's assume with Washington at 6-3-1 and the Giants at 7-3, the Cardinals, unless they win out, are unlikely to make the playoffs. I think that 9-6-1 isn't going to do it, and I'm not sure they can get to 9-6-1. That's a 5-1 finish. His touchdown that Xavier Rhodes picked off and ran back changed a 13-10 game into would have been a tied game at 13-13 with a field goal, or maybe they take the lead. Instead, it's 20-10, and they never recovered, and it was a terrible throw. But they got all kinds of trouble. They got older players. Fitzgerald's going to be 34 next year. Palmer is older. They're trying to sell Drew Stanton as a starting quarterback. I'm reading on Yahoo Sports this morning that they've been doing it all year. But Drew Stanton has a 67.2 career passer rating, which, if we're led to believe
That
83 is bad, then, and Palmer's 37. So, like, it seemed like we were not quite on the beginning of a Cardinal dynasty, but it really felt like the Cardinals were about to be great for a while. And they're not. And they're done this year, and they're going to have some very tough decisions to make in the offseason with an aging roster. There's too much talent to completely ignore them. And they'll be okay, especially if Tony Romo comes in, plays quarterback.
Yeah, I'm wondering where he's going to go now.
Where Tony Romo goes is going to be a really, really interesting story. By the way, was Prescott a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick? We got to go.
Fourth.
I think he was fourth. So, I mean, the NFC, the quarterbacks in the NFC anchored by a couple of NFC East, a couple of fourth-round picks in Prescott and Cousins in KC3.
Doing it.
But the Cardinals get the jerk of the week. You didn't see it. Great coach, veteran team, talent at the right positions, but somehow the Cardinals have just completely gone.
Badly officiated, but that's not. They've been losing more games outside of that.
They didn't. It didn't cost you. Yeah, it was a crazy penalty on for hitting Bradford when he went split out wide. Anyway, so on Peterson. So that's our jerks of the week. The Rams, Goff, Rams offense, the whole Cardinal team from me.
It's not even Goff. It's just offense.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week. Go Sox.